Hello, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are around the world. Good morning to some of you as well. It's Lucy Davis Live. Welcome to 2023. It is January the 2nd. A month today, it's my birthday. So that hit me this morning as I was writing a post on Instagram. I was like, shit, I'm going to be 44 next month. What the heck? How did that happen? So I'm about to have a bit of a midlife crisis taking place. Oh, hang on a minute. I can hear me in the background. Let's stop that. I just heard myself speaking and it's YouTube's just opened itself and started playing me. So yes, time is flying at a rate of knots at the moment. If you have not gone and checked out the energy update for January, please do head over to YouTube after we finished doing this and check that out. It's going to be a pretty easy month compared to the last few months, but it is going to be pretty intense all the same. So Denise, you're being naughty. You're being naughty already, Denise. Behave yourself. All I said was that we were checking Mahoney's connection as it's pants, not his pants. Behave yourself. You're a nightmare. You're a nightmare. Okay, so I have no idea what Mark Atwood does with his life, Elaine. I literally can't comment on it. All I know is that I do this live with David every week. So whatever he's up to, he can be up to. I love you guys too. I've been getting loads of emails from you, so I will go through them. I promise. Today has just been Monday's always my really busy day, guys. So you just got to be a little bit patient with me. Words I've been saying to my beautiful other half. Right, Mahoney, I'm bringing you in.
Hello, Lucy.
Dave. Hello, how are you?
Oh,
stranger.
I'm shacked, stranger. I only saw you this morning.
I know. It's an ungodly
guys,
hour.
I'm in Germany. I've finally got around to going and do some because Lucy gives me such a hard time because I can't put my name on any rented cars. I had to come to Germany and get my duplicate driving license and take care of some things. So I left early this morning. But I'm good. Have you had a good day, Senorita?
I've had an amazing day, thank you. I got woken up very early by an alarm clock, which I don't do, as you know, which I was like, no, this is not happening on my watch. But yeah, it dropped you off to where you needed to go. And then I've had the most amazing day. It's been really busy. Been lovely to get back on track with business. My coaches are all firing on all cylinders because I've delivered some brand new news to them today, which I know you know about. The book is happening. The book is like exciting now that's all coming out and all going on behind the scenes. It's just been a really amazing day, babe. Thank you. How's your day been? And I haven't nagged you about your driving license.
Not since it happened. It's all right. It was uneventful so far, but I'm actually in a really interesting place for the viewers. I'm in a city called Landsberg am Beck, and it's one of the oldest towns. Well, it's not one of the oldest towns. It is a very old town in Germany, but it's quite an historic place. So I've got a little bit of work to do here as well, Lucy, which I probably, it didn't even occur to me until I thought, hey, you know what? You said it to me the other day. There's always a reason why you end up in a place. You might not be prevalent. When I was in Lithuania, you were saying, yeah, but you were doing something else. I was like, what was I doing? Yeah, you were doing something else. So this town is where Hitler wrote that famous book, Mein Kampf, in a prison up the hill here, and the whole town remained untouched by Allied bombing during World War II. So it's a very old historic town with a fortress wall around it. Where I'm staying in the hotel, which is not here. I'm at my friend's place now, in his office that he looks like it's been burgled. I think I walked in the wrong room because I was like, holy cow, what happened in here? But yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of work on the historical part and the energetics as well, which I'm going to actually call you in for. We'll talk about it with the show.
I need to send you some stuff because, you know, when you started talking to me about going to Germany, my team were talking to me about there's something that I needed to do with Hitler in Germany. And I knew at that time that I was supposed to come with you, but I don't, you know, didn't work out that way. So interesting.
Yeah, this is and actually by 1947, they hung quite a few very high-ranking Nazis in the town square. Only I dropped out there. Am I back?
Yeah.
You got the sound?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
They hung some very high-ranking Nazis here, and only about 10 years ago, they actually had to remove their graves and block it off because of sightseers and you know, people using it as a pilgrimage. So there is a lot of that energy here. It always has been on my mind, but it's a beautiful little spot. And I know that some of my followers live here because they used to do a march or a walk every Monday here during COVID because, again, the restrictions in Germany. But I think there's 2 of my followers live in this town, but I foolishly didn't take note of it because I thought, I'll get around to that. Never did. So that's where I'm at. So yeah, I'll be here 2-3 days, I imagine. I've got everything is by appointment now. And I walked into these places I had to go to today because you gotta get one piece of document from this office and go to another. And it's no, everything is by appointment now. Yeah, crap. I hate that, Don't like it. So anyway, that's it. That's where I'm at, señorita. You are now the Spanish one, and I am now not.
Well, it's funny you should say that. So everybody, if you didn't know, I'm actually in David's place. This must be really weird for him, seeing me sat in his place doing a video whilst he's somewhere else. That must be so odd. It must be so odd knowing that I'm rummaging through all of your things. I'm really not. I don't have time for any of that crap. Are you back? You've gone.
I'm back. Are you going to start going through all my stuff and throwing everything out that I don't need?
Well, it's funny you should say that, Mr. Mahoney, and I think it's a really safe space for me to talk about this because I have lots of people watching that will cover my back and have my back with what I'm about to say. But your kitchen looks very different to when you left this morning.
What have you done with all those booze bottles?
Well, I didn't do any. I haven't done anything with them yet because I was going to ask your permission. But your kitchen looks very different to when you left this morning, so I think you'll be grateful when you. I never
use the kitchen. We're traveling so much. My schedule is pretty much the same as yours. We're filming together. I'm somewhere else, so I'm rarely at home like yourself. So yeah, we have to donate all those bottles of whiskey. My friend Mitch should probably take all of them. He's an avid collector.
Well, I wasn't actually going to get rid of the ones. I wasn't actually going to get rid of the ones with stuff in them. I was just going to get rid of the ones that are bloody empty, which only a man would keep.
They might have sentimental significance.
That's it. I could hear you saying those words, and I was like, I just daren't because he'll kick my ass. So I just thought I'll leave it until you get back and we can go through it. But bloody sentimental value on a bloody bottle, like, come on, come on, girls, stand up for me here. Like, we just need
probably
to
isn't there. But what are we talking about tonight, mi amor?
We are talking about, see, they're all backing me. They think the bottles should go, David Mahoney. So today we're talking about transformation. So the place where I would like to start with this, if it's okay with you, is first and foremost, like, we both individually and collectively have had a massive transformation, right? In fact, should we talk about New Year quickly, like, with people, because I've been a bit rude. Like, I haven't asked how people's Christmas or New Year was, and like, probably that's the right thing to do on the 2nd of January, right? So let me know in the comments if you had a good New Year. Let me know where you went, what you got up to, and how things were. Yeah, Colleen, I like that. David and I were in Seville, weren't we, for New Year?
I'm going to open the door, see if I can get a better reception from the Wi-Fi.
You having a moment?
Go on, say again.
So basically, David and I were in Seville, in Spain, for New Year's Eve. We had a nice evening up there, didn't we? We went for some food and then ended up in the town, in the city, saw in New Year. Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it?
Very pleasant. Very well. We had a lot of we parked in the right spot. We're in a good restaurant, a Lebanese restaurant, so we had both vegetarian. We all were both happy, and yeah, then went out and watched what the shenanigans are going on in the town centre. But it was very calm and on what would be the word? No, it was eventful, but it was just very organised. Everybody was in a good mood and very peaceful, and people were not
rowdy,
drunk and staggering around and throwing up and smashing bottles. It was all very what's the word? Civilized. There you go. Thank you, Lucy. All very civilized, and it was nice. We had an early night. We got home by 12:30, so woke up the next day fresh and ready for the new year.
And then we went out exploring yesterday, didn't we? We went out around Seville. We had a laugh. We were supposed to go on scooters, but all of the scooters appeared to have been taken off the streets and we couldn't actually get them. So we just went for a big long walk, didn't we? We had some nice lunch and then we came back down to the beach, which was beautiful. So let me know how, I mean, we're getting lots of messages about what people got up to on New Year. I hope you guys had a good one. I hope you guys heard the message around not really setting resolutions and just really focusing on the commitments that you'd like to make for yourself this year. But the most important thing is just set an intention. What is your intention for 2023? My intention for 2023 is to love and to be loved more than I ever have done. You know, that's the vibration that I want to bring to my life, and that's the vibration that I am choosing for my life. Be careful, David, is all I'm saying. If I'm going to be like throwing out more love, like just be careful. So all we need to do, ladies and gents, is just get into alignment with that, set the intention, set some commitments for yourself that you want to be doing, and actually really get this new year moving along in the way that you would like it to move along in. Please do not set yourself up for a fall with setting resolutions. I find that they always, I know I've frozen in with love. You've got to love that. It's brilliant. It's like, right, I'm going to say about love and you're just going to freeze.
Am I still frozen now?
No, you're good.
Lucy, I'm gonna switch my camera off while I move location because I think I'm in the wrong room for the Wi-Fi. It's right underneath the other room. So you crack on and I'll be right back. Yeah,
no worries.
I'll hear you.
No worries. Okay, I'm gonna mute you, babe. Okay, so that we can't hear you moving around because that would be quite noisy. Oh my gosh, Richards, I hope your daughter is okay. Sorry to hear that you had to go to urgent care. That's not good. So I'm just sending you lots of love. I don't know if you're in any of my groups or anything, but if you need any support or any healing or anything, just ask in the groups and we will organize that for you. It was very peaceful our end as well. You know, David and I don't really get involved in the rowdiness or anything like that, which is quite surprising because we're both quite outspoken, rowdy people. But we didn't get involved in any of that stuff at all because it's just not in alignment with our values. But like I say, for me this year, 2023 is about really creating the life that I've been dreaming of for a long time. And it doesn't mean that with that desire to create the life that we're looking to live, that all of a sudden we're not going to be faced with more healing. Are you back?
I'm back. Seems to be better in here.
That's much better. So you can contribute now. What's your intention for 2023, Mr. Mahoney?
Well, I would say the same as you, but I think that's a bit of a cheap cop-out just saying ditto. So I was talking about harmony and balance.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking to me about it. I was like,
I was talking about balance and you were talking about harmony.
I added harmony to it because my analogy of this is as a typical man who's into anything with gasoline. And if you've ever been in a boat where there's two engines, if one of the engines is out of alignment, it makes a terrible noise. You get a vibration up through the boat. Same with airplanes. When we do that, we would harmonize and just finally tweak the engines, but we tweak it by listening to it. So when you get that, and when it's exactly right, it's exactly right. And I think being in a situation in a new relationship, I think harmony is something. You added balance. I said, well, you know, it's a harmonic tone that I would go for to achieve that balance rather than looking at instruments, whereas you'd be more hands-on looking at it. I'm more of a, you know, a feely, touchy sound type of guy. So really? It kind of works for it works for both of us. I think harmonic balance for me, so we can both still be the own individual person you are, but also having to accommodate somebody new in your life is something we're both learning because we've both been alone for so long, really.
Yeah, it's and actually this is a great part of the transformational journey, right? So I shared, I think on an Instagram live video earlier today, that, you know, this period of time has been absolutely magical. Obviously falling for you, or should I say rising in love with you, has been absolutely amazing, but it hasn't, like, people often look at it and they're like, oh, you know, it's all just a bed of roses, and it hasn't been. You know, moving to a different country, moving into somebody else's space when you and that person are both so used to having your own space. Like, you know, this is the stuff we need to talk about. Is, yes, David and I get on amazing. Yes, we love each other very, very much, but it doesn't mean that we haven't got under each other's toes. And, you know, as we're trying to figure this out, it's like very, very, very new for us at the moment. So it's been interesting, and it's been transformational. I know for me, I've had time today to reflect. It's the first day I've had on my own for like, what, about 5-6 weeks, which is weird for me. You know, weird as heck. Like, I do not get, like, you're a little bit different. You've constantly got people around you more often than not, haven't you? But for me, I get to my place in Bournemouth, I shut the door and I switch my phone off. Like, I ignore people. I can just shut them down. I can let them stay at the door. Whereas you're that's not you as a person, is it? So you know, for me, today has been a massive awakening. And this is why I really wanted to talk about transformation, because a lot of the time you don't realize that transformation is taking place. And, you know, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of both of us when I say there's been times over the last 3 weeks since we came over from England that we've both been like, fuck, this isn't a transformation. This is fucking hard work, you know. But on the flip side of that as well, when you have time to reflect, you go, actually, that was really, really useful, because now I understand how that person's going to behave in this situation. And now I understand that this person needs a little bit of space, or, you know, we need to communicate better, or things like that. And, you know, the whole reason you and I decided to talk about transformation is because you heard a line in a film yesterday, wasn't it? And it was talking around fate and it was alluding to destiny. And we just thought, right, let's talk about that, because you and I both know that a lot of the journey that we're on right now is destiny. It doesn't mean that it's not challenging at times, or it doesn't mean that it's not massively transformational. And what's really interesting as well is, just as another side note, is my book is 100% about transformational moments in time. That's it. It's not about, you know, a tell-all book, because it's not. Like, I speak about very few things in there, but I speak about a lot at the same time. It's very interesting, but it's not really from a personal perspective. It's very much from what happened in my life to make me change and go from being the badass on the trading floor to, you know, the spiritual warrior that I've become over the years. So sometimes it's not as easy as just saying somebody died and I transformed. Sometimes it's along the lines of fate and destiny, isn't it? So I'd like you to share that line from the movie if you can remember it.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't listening, Lucy. I was just doing something else. I'm joking, baby.
That doesn't trouble me anymore, because you do it all the bloody time.
the line
Right,
from
whatever.
the movie, this is funny because you've got about 5 points in there. So
Yeah.
the line from the movie was, fate passed me by, I feel, and it must have been looking at me straight in the face, but I just didn't see it. And here I am in the autumn years of my life thinking, where was that moment in my journey that I failed to recognize that this was a point in my life where it was a fate moment? Do I go left or right? Do I get up, down, turn around? What do I do? And it's very a true point, Lucy, because we're very, very fortunate, because we've noticed, for whatever reason, we've realized those moments in our life, and we've taken them. Whatever guidance has been guiding me, I mean, you have a different term for it. You say, you know, your guides, but there's been specific moments in my life where I've had a decision to make. And looking back, I've been very lucky, or very fortunate, or guided by the right energies to make that decision. So the point is, how can you identify these moments in your life? And I think that's all about having, again, balance inside your soul, making sure that you are on that frequency where you're getting that, that big shiver, or that big instinctive voice going off inside your head saying, that's a bad idea, or this is a good idea. How do you feel about that? So being in tune with yourself is exceptionally important, which is something most people might not appreciate. You know, it's very easy to point the finger and say, oh, no, it wasn't like that. But we all are faced with these moments in life. You could equate it to, you know, everybody has a story of the one that got away. I'll tell you a very brief, very funny story that I always tease my friend about. There's a movie that came out about 1997, and it's called The Game, with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. And they premiered the European version in Spain. And the girl in there who plays this waitress slash actress, she took a real shine to my friend. And they had that moment together where they were like locked on in eyes. It was a huge chemistry. And I saw it. And my friend said, oh, no, I've got something else to do. I said, are you stupid? I said, that is a moment in your life that, you know, you'll regret. And sure enough, 30 years later, well, 25 years later, I tease him about it, and who knows what direction his life would have taken. Did he have the courage to, you know, take that actress out on a date or even get to know her better or whatever? But he chose to do something else. He kind of said, no, he got a bit freaked out by us. And that's a moment you're going to regret. So identifying those moments is, yeah.
Have you seen a comment in the chat? Sounds like us watching you two.
I can't see the chat. I'm on my phone. There's no chat for me. But...
Oh, how funny. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, those moments, and also the two words that you're talking about, you're cracking up, aren't you? I can't. Two words you're talking about is fate and destiny. And we talked about this on the sofa last night. We said, for me, these are two different things. Destiny to me is your destination, and fate, what happens along the way. I still feel that you're always going to end up at that destination, but the fate could choose your fate along that journey will make it even harder or easier, and maybe slightly change the destination. It's funny why this destino and all of the Latin words, it's all based around the same thing: destination, destino, destination. So for me, destiny is a, could it be preordained? Is it set in stone? Probably not, but I think there's some very good guidelines there. It's all about what happens in the middle journey, that you become the person that you could be and you should be if you have the courage and if you're tuned in to identify those moments in your life.
So there's a couple of points that I want to go to in what you've just spoken about, because again, there's been a number of points that you've just raised, Mr. Mahoney. So I'm just going to go, take a little step back and take us through some. So first and foremost, you were talking about, being aware of what's going on. For me personally, the reason most people miss their destiny, miss their fate, miss their transformational periods is because they are distracted. They are so caught up in the matrix of the three-dimensional world that they miss it completely. And I often have people reaching out to me saying, Lucy, what do you think? Or Lucy, what's your opinion? Or Lucy, and it's like, hey, hang on a minute. This isn't my destiny. This is yours. This is yours that has been showing to you, not mine. Like you know what I'm like, David. I have something really weird come in and I'm like, oh my God, what does this mean? Like instantly I'm on it, because I if I don't, then I know that it will just pass me by. And I've learned very, very, very from a challenging space of missing so much and allowing so many things to pass me by, that I now, as soon as something pops into my imagination, as soon as something pops into what David likes to call the fantasy world, as soon as that comes in, I'm like, right, I need to take action on this, because otherwise that's not going to be mine. It's going to be somebody else's. And I've got an example of this. So I was in Dubai speaking in 2016, and I will never forget this. I was doing my thing, and a lady came up to me afterwards and she was like, oh my God, you are amazing. And I was like, oh, thank you very much. And she said, Lucy, I've manifested you. She said, a few years ago, I knew I needed to speak about self-love. I knew I needed to do this. I knew I needed to do that. And here you are doing it. And I just went, oh, it's really beautiful that you think that that's the manifestation that you've created. I said, I look at things slightly differently. Maybe if you had followed up on that, I wouldn't be stood here in front of you doing it. Mm-hmm. And her jaw just dropped open and she was like, oh shit. And the penny just dropped. We are all given gold. We do have, I truly believe that our destiny is our final destination, right? I truly believe, I agree with David on that point exactly. However, so many people get distracted or they don't know how to do it. So they allow that to just, oh, well, I'll leave that to somebody else to do. And then they believe that they've manifested something, when in reality, what they've done is they're witnessing something that they could have had. And this is why it's very important to acknowledge the distractions. Anybody out there that is just totally focused on one thing, whether that be money, sex, drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, like whatever your thing is, if you are just focused on that one thing, you are distracted and you are not allowing yourself to live in the higher levels of consciousness, which are available to all of us right now. So that was point number one. Do you have anything to say on that before I move on?
Yeah, but I'm curious to say, because maybe your point number two is going to be what I was going to say. So
I'm going to fate next.
Go on then, and then I'll go back.
So for me personally, I agree with what, like I just said, I agree with what David said about the destiny. I have truly believed that our soul contract is our destiny. I know our soul contract, or part of my soul contract this year, was to reconnect with David for the 1000th time and go on whatever journey it is, because we screwed it up last time, and we probably screwed it up the time before, and we probably, you know, it's all of this stuff. Yep, exactly. So people in the chat box are saying mic drop, because they're getting it. Like, this is such brutality that's coming out of my mouth. It's brutal, right? Like, I'm basically saying, you are so distracted, you're not getting what you choose for your life. And that's tough. That's a really tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, if you know that you've got a destiny, like, I truly believe that anybody that follows me knows that they've got a soul contract. They know that they've got a commitment out there with God, with the divine, with the universe, whatever word aligns to you. And you know that you are here for a reason. I don't have people that follow me that don't believe that they're here for a reason. I just don't. It's just not the way it is. I don't have people that are just so in the, you know, in the throes of the three-dimensional matrix now. They're like, no, what am I here to do? Am I here to create a healing center? Am I here to do this? And they might question it, but they all know that they're here for something far greater. And this is where fate kicks in. Because for me, fate is also predetermined, i.e., there is certain things that you need to step through in your life. Like, some of you have come down here and you've experienced, whether it be physical or emotional abuse this lifetime. Now, the reason you committed to that is because that's part of your destiny. That was part of the education that you need to bring to the planet, and it was part of your healing and your karmic journey. So I truly believe that we've all signed up for things, you know, in that. Now, would anybody of sane mind do that? No. But we aren't sane when we're in higher levels of consciousness, because we're all peaceful and we're all clarity and we all know what we're doing. And, you know, we don't have this heaviness of this low density in this matrix that we're currently living. So for me, when fate comes in, you know, when fate comes in, it's about things that have to take place to get us to our destiny. So like David was saying a minute ago, you know, there's, you know, you may be presented with somebody and you have a choice to make. Do you choose this person, or do you choose the fear that is keeping you from this person? And let's be real, Mahoney, both you and I easily could have chosen the fear, because we were both scared.
Fear, I don't know if fear is the right word for me. Just well, not to go through it and to have all that pain and anguish again. I mean, that would be my, I just don't want it. It's like, okay, I don't want a hangover, so I'm not going to drink excessively. I've been there and done that. I wouldn't say it's a fear. You know, it's better to have loved and lost than not to have loved at all. A broken heart is something I think everybody should go through, because, you know, it's an experience. Are all these experiences necessarily bad? You know, if you tag them all with a negative, then I don't think it is. I mean, that day I had a decision one day when I was walking across the border from Mexico to Tijuana, saying, why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. But my inner little devil was saying, oh, yeah, you do. You want to test the system. I wanted to test the system. And it ended up costing me 6 weeks being banged up in a federal jail. Silly mistake. But fear is not necessarily, I mean, I don't really have fear. I don't really have it. And you might argue a bit, you know, but I like balance and harmony and peace. That's my thing. I don't like arguments and stress situations and drama. I don't like any of that. And I get into it a lot, but I can leave that outside the house once I close the door. So fear to me is not necessarily the right word. It's just, do I want to continuously be on the same roundabout? Just going round and round again. Hello, what's your name? Oh, you're Capricorn. Okay, you want to go out, and then, you know, 20 minutes later, more or less, you're saying, oh, God, this has happened before. The repeat pattern, being a repeat offender in life, I think, Lucy, is something that people tend to do. You tend to make the same mistakes again. And where I was going to go before was, you mentioned the difference between getting your consciousness towards 5D and not 3D. I suffered a lot during Christmas period because I had a lot of 3D stuff to do. You know, I've got my mother over in Spain, which is a tremendous strain because she's elderly, you know, infirm, got cancer, you know, angry, bitter, twisted, you know, trying to keep everybody happy over that time period. It's a challenge. And you're lucky because you have that ability to say, okay, I don't need that. I'm just going to stay focused and tuned. And I struggled with that, and I lost my connection over the Christmas period until things eased off a bit and we could have some time to ourselves again. True or not true?
Very true statement, David Mahoney,
Yeah.
and I'm very proud of you for acknowledging that.
Yes, mi amor, no problem.
I'm very proud of you. I'm like, who is this man? Who is this beautiful divine masculine that's back in the room?
It's frustrating because for the viewers at home, Lucy is constantly getting downloads and messages, and you're constantly in that. And she talks a lot in her sleep, by the way. She was saying something about coordinates the other night, and I, what are you talking about now? You talking to me,
And I
And
wasn't.
a lot of the time you don't know that you're actually saying it. So there's a conversation going on, and I'm making mental notes. And also something that's happened is now I'm getting messages in my dream state, in between being asleep and awake. Something has been happening to me. That's quite interesting to share. We've kind of been off this stuff,
Yeah,
but
we have
again,
gone completely off topic, but it's fine. I think they're going
but
to love
no,
this.
it kind of ties in because
bring
it's
it back.
again being able to identify those moments where you have to keep yourself in tune, because I was suffering this phenomenon of just literally falling asleep within a second. I'd be in the middle of a conversation, pillow talk, hey, how's your day? Bang, gone. And then she'd say to me, are you asleep? And then I'd snap out and say, hey, they just showed me something. I got a message for you. Am I allowed to tell that one about the airport?
Yeah, if you like.
Yeah. I said,
it was a dangerous night, but I'm okay with it.
I said, who do you know works ground staff in Luton Airport? They're telling me that you have to contact them. And Lucy knew about it straight away. So now, because we're so in tune together, I'm assuming it's that, I'm getting messages for Lucy in between that state, not going right into the rapid eye movement state, but just bang. And I've identified that now as that's where I'm getting messages or downloads, and I'm saying, hey, do you know about this? And it's happened quite a lot over Christmas.
We are the oddest couple going.
And then what? It's 2 a.m. and I fall asleep and I say, hey, why am I getting a message about an Indian girl at a check-in ground crew Luton Airport? And she says, oh, I know what that is. Like, not even flinching. I'm like, then she just goes back to sleep and not tell me the whole story. I'm like, you're not even gonna, no, I'll tell you tomorrow. It's not important right now.
But then I go off and I go and do the work. That's the interesting thing. Like, David will give me a message and then I just go off and I do the work. And I'm like, why weren't you with me? And he's like, I was wide awake. I just told you a message. And I was like, yeah, but you weren't there. You weren't there to help me,
I was wide awake.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
Do you want to continue?
No. We've kind of veered off subject, but
no, I'm going to bring it back in. That's what I was going to do. So it's really, really, really important to recognize that this is a massive transformation for David. Like, David recognizing that I've told David from the minute I met him in May last year in 2022, I said, you're a messenger for me, because he said a couple of things and I was like, wow, this guy doesn't realize he's one of my messengers. Like, I didn't know anything else other than that at that point. I just knew that he was a messenger based on, some flippant conversations basically that we had. So I told you that if it wasn't on the 8th of May, when the first time that we met, it was like within a week or a couple of weeks or something. It was very, very quickly, wasn't it?
Very quickly into the friendship. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now for David to get this memo, because I've known when he's been sharing weird and wonderful things with me, I've known where they're coming from. But like I've said to you guys before, it's not my job. David gets annoyed with me with this sometimes because he's like, Lucy, just tell me, if you know something, just tell me. But I'm very much, I like people to go on their own journey. I like people to figure it out. And, like I've said before, people get really irate with me because they know that I know, but I'm just like, well, what do you feel? How do you feel? How do you think this is going to go? And for literally, I think it was last week, wasn't it? You said, I think these are messages for you.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, you were sharing a message about something, and I don't know if I smiled or if what happened, but you were like, I think these are messages for you. Every time I get it, I think they're messages for you, and I'm like, okay, cool, share them with me, which you have been doing for a while anyway. But it was that moment of transformation that David has actually realized that he has got the gifts that he doesn't realize that he's got, but they're just coming through in a different way to the way that he sees me have them. And you know what it's like, we all go into comparison. Well, I want what she can do. I want, and the amazing thing about David is you are so telepathic. Like, it's bloody ridiculous, isn't it? How telepathic you are.
Yeah, I'll say it's over there, and I'll point at the toothpaste and things like that. Well, it's actually pretty good. So you see, now you know how I feel when you're reading my thoughts, and I can do it to you now. Absolutely.
And this is the thing. So this month in my self-love club membership, funnily enough, we're talking about brain power and the thoughts and how you create and like how powerful your brain is. And it's very, very interesting because the main thing that I say to people during this month of my program is clean your thoughts up, because when we get to the level of consciousness that we need to be in, we're all going to be able to read each other's thoughts. So if you're sat there thinking you're being a right bitch right now, like, I'm going to hear that. So we need to clean our act up. All of us needs to clean our act up so that we know. And some people will feel it in a shift in energy. So I'm very sensitive. If somebody pulls away, if somebody gets too close, if I feel threatened in one way, shape or form, like, I feel it instantly. And David knows that, like, he's been on the receiving end of my messages on a lot of occasions where I'm like, babe, I don't know why, but I need you right now. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll protect you. So just know that we are far more connected than you will ever believe, than you will ever know. And David is very lucky in the sense that his telepathy has come online, and now he's recognizing these messages that the gods are giving to him as he's dropping between being awake and stepping into that super conscious state of sleep. It's in those moments, and it could be seconds. Like, literally, he could just go and then be like, right, babe, I've got this message for you. They've just shown me.
True.
Yeah, and it's literally in seconds. So I think it's really beautiful, and thank you for sharing about that, David, because this is going to help other people to realize, like, you are channeling information, you are being shown the future, you are being shown that you are psychic. It's just not in the way that you would perhaps have perceived that it would come through for you.
I think that's absolutely spot on, Lucy. So before we move on, let's do a little recap about that. You all, if you're watching this now, you all have being guided to watch this little show tonight that we're doing, goofing around from Spain and Germany. But the message is there that you have these powers. But like me, it just took me a while to figure out what they were, but I needed to be alert for them. So the 3D world that you're living in is a distraction. Try to keep that at a minimum so you can tune back into it, so you can focus and home in on what your special abilities are. We all have that telepathy. We all have the ability to connect to source, whatever you'd like to call it. But it's having the determination and to warrant the time to say, okay, you know what? No more Coronation Street and no more TV tonight. I'm going to put the book down and just be in that moment. Like, what is this? Ground yourself well. But I think
that's something that I've helped you shift massively, because when me and you together, it's rare we put the TV on, isn't it? Like, really, really rare. Like, last night we watched a movie together, which was hilarious. It was a movie that we both needed to watch, wasn't it? It was hilarious. There was a message in there for both of us.
There was a lot of message.
We actually laughed at the end of it, and we were like, yeah, okay, so the gods wanted us to watch that message. We were laughing, and but that's probably the first movie you and I have ever sat down and watched together, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that is how, although David's self admission that he got caught up in the 3D world over Christmas, that's a huge shift for David, which is why the gifts are starting to show themselves. And through the month of January, the energy, particularly around the middle of the month, we're going to be seeing people's gifts coming online much more prevalent than we have ever done before. There's a surge of energy as we step, around the 13th, the 16th of the month, we're going to be getting this surge of energy where people are going to be like, how do I know that? Like, how do I know that? Like, I know it with such certainty, but I know nothing on that subject. Or, you're going to be getting the insights in the dreams, or you're going to start remembering. I saw a couple of people say in the chat that they're mute in dreams. They don't get any information. And I remember a short time ago, David, you were saying the same.
I don't get any information in dreams. Well, yeah, but they're not. It's, again, interpretation, because it's not. What I've identified now as messages just look like garbled tuning the radio, and you're just going and then you get to the dream. It's in between that stage. I've identified that particular stage as being the messenger stage. And it's also, you don't have time to think about it. You don't go, well, that was strange, now why? You just got to get it off and say, hey, because the longer that you have it sitting in your here, it dissolves. I've noticed, Lucy. I probably haven't said that to you, but the longer that
You have, because I remember you going, I can't make sense of this. I can't make sense of it. And I would almost chuckle to myself because I was like, just spit it out. If you spit it out, it's going to land and it's going to make sense. But
Yeah.
again, it's your journey, because for a few
That,
times you were like, Lucy, I just can't comprehend what's going on.
yeah, and that's the thing. You're using your 3D brain to try and piece all the puzzle together, but it's not, because a lot of these are fragmented pieces of multiple storylines.
Yeah.
So you've just got to get it out. But I hope that what I've just shared with everybody about that state, just when you drop off, before you get into the proper full-on movie dream, it's the entry part, which is seconds long, really. It might seem like it's an eternity in some of the stuff that's going on, but I know I've been asleep for seconds and come out with 3-4 messages straight away. Like, I've heard the last word you've said, I get the message, and then I hear you saying, "Are you asleep?" And it's
Honestly,
literally
it's weird. It's so weird. He
2
can literally be
seconds.
sat having a chat with me and then be like, gone. And I'm like,
Yeah,
am I boring you?
it's like, put you in a trance, put you in a trance, put you in a trance.
That's exactly it, which is why that video is so funny, right? Because sometimes I'm like, okay, I've literally just and sleep, and you're just
Bye.
gone, and then you just go blah, 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 deliver a message for me, like there's a ground staff at Luton Airport waiting to speak to you, or you've given me quite a few messages like that. So and so needs to speak to you, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's funny. Maybe we should record ourselves when we go to bed one night. Just listen to the shit that comes out of both of our mouths throughout the evening. It would be a bestseller. It would be hilarious, because I think it was New Year's Eve, wasn't it? Where I think you thought I was talking to you, and you said, "Oh, like, is there something going on?" And I was just like, "What are you talking about? I've just been given coordinates from Russell."
Yeah, and I just
I mean,
said,
what?
Russell, racking my brain. Have we talked? Who's Russell? But yeah,
I don't even
so,
know a Russell. That's the funny thing. But what was so funny with that particular one is I said, "Oh, I've just been given the southeast coordinates from Russell," and then I completely forgot about it. And then yesterday, out of nowhere, you just said, "Oh, that's to the southeast," and I went, "Oh my God, Russell gave me the coordinates, didn't it?"
yeah.
I'm
But
a weirdo.
let's recap on that so
Please
people
do.
can do it, because we're a bit like meandering minstrels here. Being able to identify how well, we veer off track a bit. So the theme of that is to identify those moments in your life which will change your life for the better. You're not going to see those moments or feel those moments if you're stuck in a 3D distractional world, and you've got to figure out which messages you're going to get, what medium they're coming into. It could be random numbers, like we see numbers on license plates all the time. Who was saying that they sat at table 56 and the bill came to 5656? We read that message somewhere. There can be so many ways that the messages from your guides are delivered. You just got to open your eyes and be open to it. Random pages, of a newspaper article, or it could be anything. But once you tune into it, like, I know now you're good with the numbers and things coming through, but I know how to get mine now. So I'm very, very fortunate. Again, blessed.
I'm very proud of you.
I'm
I'm very. Are
I'm
you going to
very
take the
proud of
piss out
you.
of? Are you going to take the piss out of me for giving you a compliment because you're
No, I'm very
uncomfortable with
proud of
them?
you for getting through Christmas with all the strain.
I'm now grey, ladies and gents. I've got grey hair. I'm just like.
We had a few moments where she said, I was going to go to South America. I didn't want to put up with any of this shit. I want to go to South America. You convinced me to come here and do this.
I'm going to be honest, and I've been honest with my members on the calls that I've done. There was times when the Lucy that wanted to run away was there. The old Lucy that would have run. And I did. I said to you on a couple of occasions, like, you wanted me here. I wanted to be in South America, which is such a horrible thing to say to your partner, because I don't mean that. I wanted to be with you, but I just didn't anticipate any of the drama that was surrounding what went on. I just, in my mind, I'm just going to navigate this with ease and grace. Like, I don't, it's not my family, so I can just navigate it with ease and grace, but it's never that easy. But it's been, for me, now I've reflected today, it's been an amazing transformational period. I've learned so much. I've learned what to do. I've learned what not to do. And I actually feel that you and I are going to be better for it. Like, you know, we're
I
good,
agree.
but I feel that
I
we are
agree.
going to be better for it because now we know so much more about each other. You know, like that was thrown into the lion's den with lions, tigers, panthers, you name it all going on. So it's true.
And also misinterpreting things. Misinterpretation is a lot of it. You know, you might say something. I'll give you one good example. I removed the shower gel because I had a shower in a bigger shower, and then I put it back, and you got out the shower in the towel saying, "Where the hell's the shower gel?" I said, "It's
Dripping
right
wet. I didn't say where the hell. I just said, where's the shower? But I was dripping wet. Like I'd literally just got out the shower. Like my hair was soaking wet. I'm like, where's the shower gel? And he's like, by the side of the shower, Lucy. And it
by the
was.
side of the shower." And I thought you were really going to kick it off.
No.
But you didn't. I was like, oh, she's going to come out now and say, listen, you know, put it back where it was. But it was just that much further over. Small little misinterpretations and, you know, people's habits. There's nothing
I
crazy.
will never get my head around somebody leaving shower gel outside of the shower rather than in the shower.
Yeah, I know. That's just, I
It's a
kind of
boy.
just
That's such a
and
male thing. And I haven't been in a relationship since 2017. I'm not used to men doing weird things like that, but I'm getting used to it.
I think I got distracted. Something in the oven or the phone was ringing or something, but
very likely. Can I just talk about a couple of the comments in here? Is that all right? Or did you want to say something about transformation?
No. Shout away.
Okay, cool. So there's been a couple of people that have asked, okay, this is a question from Lizzie. Lucy, do you have any advice with regards to connecting with higher self when meditating? Any visuals that help distract from intrusive thoughts? So I go against the grain with meditation. Not that David would know, because we still haven't got around to meditating, sweetheart, have we? But we're going to do that soon. We're gonna take a couple of days out for us, aren't we? In a couple of weeks.
Road trip.
We're going on a road trip. That's about us rather than about the universe, but it's bound to end up being about the bloody universe because that's the way she works. So, you know, there's me being delusional of, oh yeah, we're going to get a couple of days, but no, it's probably going to be all about her. So hopefully whilst we're on that trip, obviously we're going to get David meditating. Now, this is going to help you, babe, with what I'm about to say. So I do not agree with distracting from your thoughts. Oh, I disagree with that. I feel if you have a thought come into your meditation, you need to say, where have you popped up from? So let's say, for example, Lizzie, you're laid down meditating and you're like, oh God, I forgot to get that from the supermarket. All you need to say to that thought is, thank you for showing yourself to me. Come back and remind me later and let it go. As soon as you can acknowledge, it's like anything. If you're acknowledging that you're feeling angry, if you're acknowledging that you're feeling sad, very quickly, as soon as you've got that, you can go, right, am I going to choose to sit there or not? And it's exactly the same with meditation. I do not believe with distraction. I do not believe in distracting yourself. I believe that everything is a messenger for us. So why don't we just say, hey, thank you for presenting yourself. Right, now I'm going to choose to do something different. And it's as simple as that. And I would take that philosophy on everything in your life. You know, acknowledge it and then just allow it to go away, and then say to it, come back in an hour or come back in a week or come back whenever. Or you can say, thank you for bringing that into my consciousness. I don't need to know about that. Take it away. And just like having that conversation and just getting rid. If you are somebody that literally cannot meditate because your mind is just so boom, 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 put some music on, put some solfeggio frequencies, and just be patient with yourself. Sit there long enough so that your brain actually realizes that you just have to stop. My top tip for people is, and this is a difficult one, sit in silence for 10 minutes a day. No phone, no book, no music, nothing. Because if you can sit with yourself for 10 minutes a day, literally doing nothing, you can meditate and you will get such gold coming through.
Eyes open or closed?
What, when you're in your 10 minutes on your own? Either. You with your eyes open because you'd fall asleep. I know you, Mahoney. I know you.
Yeah, it's a good little tip, that, because I could do that 10 minutes just sitting there, but I would be enjoying the scenery and nature.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. If you want to kick your shoes off and you know, be barefoot and just be present for 10 minutes and look at the scenery and stuff, that's okay, because that's just Mama G. But you can't have a phone, you can't have music, you can't be listening to a podcast, none of that stuff. Because most of us are so distracted. We're meditating with music, or we're meditating listening to things. Like, my favorite meditations is with nothing. My favorite, I get so much information because I've got no other distractions. I've got no waves coming at me. I've got no confusion. You know what it's like if you're listening to something, you can be picking up a different frequency in it, and you can, if you're listening to words, you can take a different tone. Or
Question.
go.
So you wouldn't recommend doing it on the beach, so the wave sounds would be distracting you?
Oh, the beach is okay. I actually like the beach. I like the beach. It's a good place to do it. But go somewhere whereby, you know, you haven't got kids playing on the beach, or hey, somebody screaming at you or something like that. Just if you can find a beach, like this time of year is perfect, especially if you live in the UK, go sit on a beach there. No one will be there. And you will be able to have that 10 minutes of peace. But, if you are here in Spain, people will walk past and say hello to you, or people will be skating past you, or whatever, so.
Hello, bonita.
Yeah, I know. Muy bonita, actually, babe. I'm going to have to share the story now. I went into the supermarket. Was it yesterday or
a couple of
days ago? I went into the supermarket because David was busy doing some stuff. So I was like, I'm going to nip to the supermarket, babe, get us some bits. And it was so funny. These people were like, oh, doing this to me. And I'm like, oh, God, I've either got my skirt tucked up, but I wasn't wearing a skirt. I thought my boob was hanging out, or just something, because they were all just looking at me with such like eyes wide open and things. And when I got back, I'm like, babe, everyone kept saying to me, muy bonita. And they were basically telling me that I was very pretty.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, muy bonita.
But I had 7 people, men and women, old ones, young ones, you name it, 7 people in one supermarket.
And in that part of town, it's not exactly, it's all Spanish. There aren't any foreigners in that part of town where my place is. So, it's your energy beaming off you.
Yeah,
You're like a burning bright night star in the night sky, Lucy.
I think my aura that day was particularly big because people were just staring for no reason. Spanish women are beautiful. They don't need to be looking at me, but they were eyes wide open, connecting into my energy field, which is very interesting. I'm just going to have a little look at the other questions that we've got going on. Oh, apparently you were blushing at some point, David. I like that. I like to make him blush. I like it.
I think I laugh so hard sometimes and my blood pressure goes up. I might have been, I don't know. It's not something I've logged into my memory.
No, I know. I just think it's cute. I've never noticed you blushing, in all honesty.
No.
It is what it is. No, I think that's it, actually. Amber turned me on to the Perfect Meditation on Apple Music. Great stuff. Feel free to share it on this thread if you want to. How nice I get to put your card in the slot. I don't know what the heck that means. I've got no idea what you mean by that. So let's just go back, babe, because we've only got a couple of minutes anyway. I can't believe how quickly this hour's gone, in all honesty. Let's just go back and just revisit. Their transformation shows up in many, many, many different ways. Transformation can show up when somebody passes, or, when you rise in love, or there's many, many different ways that transformation shows up in your life. I believe, and, it's up to you to decide what you believe, is that we all have a soul contract. We all have a destiny. Now, there are things along the way that will be sent to test us and to, trick us sometimes, or give us our healing. I don't actually think that we're tricked very often. I truly believe that every single thing that we step through is something that we need to go through. Although I have said a couple of times recently, I feel like I'm being tricked. Little minx that I am. But it's very important to recognize that all of it is a transformational period. If you go to your worst, darkest period of your life, and I'm not saying this is the worst, darkest period of your life, but let's look at the period when you were in the Mexican prison.
Yeah,
right.
That wasn't dark. That was quite.
No. I'm not saying that, but for most people, getting locked up for 6 weeks would be a pretty dark period. There would be moments where they were like, I can't do this, or there would be moments where they were like, this is going to make sense one day. So let's just use that scenario rather than going into anything deeper or darker than that. It's David looks back at that situation now, and I love it when you tell that story, because you tell me the story about how you helped the Mexicans, how you helped them do something. So it was your destiny. Like, you had to go in there.
Absolutely. The entire system will never recover from my short stay. because I taught them, and I said, when I leave, you have to teach the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. I guarantee that ripple effect has changed thousands of lives. And it's probably one of my greatest achievements. It started out, I mean, I was sleeping on a concrete floor for 8 days, no shower, toothbrush, change your clothes, with bright interrogation lights. And they were saying I'm a threat to the security of the US. They were telling me they were going to send me to Guantanamo. I mean, that was a worrying moment. So when I got from that hellhole into a normal jail with a bed and Mexicans, and it was fun. But I made the most of it. And looking back, it's something I would do again, Lucy, if I had the choice, if I could time travel now, standing on that border, saying, okay, you can go back, I would still do it again. Absolutely, without hesitation, because I knew then that I was not supposed to be in the States. And now being forced, I ignored 3 warnings, being forcibly taken back to Europe. Look at what I've achieved in the last 6 years, or is it 8 years now, since 14 it was, 8-9 years. But it's been a hell of a ride, and I would never have done any of that had I stayed in the States. It would have just stifled my entire psychic abilities. It would have been a total waste of all of the COVID help that we've done, and absolutely probably would never have met you.
Isn't it interesting? Because when you were just saying that, because I didn't know it was 2014, but 2014 was the year that I was bouncing around, probably right over your head whilst you were in prison. Isn't it funny how the divine works? Oh, let's send her there. Let's send her there. Maybe their energies will connect. But no, how interesting. I find it fascinating. You know, we speak about this stuff all the time, but even I didn't know that was 2014. So that's really interesting. Really interesting. I love these chats. I get more out of you on these chats than I do cuddled up to you on the couch.
Yeah, people, you've asked me, we have this thing, okay, what are your regrets? What would you change? I don't think I'd change anything. You know, even an experience that you might initially think is bad and negative, and that was a terrible night. You know, you always learn something from it. Pull it apart. You know, there's
always gold.
Yeah, there's always gold in them there hills there, Jew. Gold in them there hills. And
it's amazing.
I'm extremely grateful for all the stuff that's happened, and it's only just getting more interesting now. You know, for those of you who don't know, Lucy has published a book, and I haven't read it yet. Not because I have chosen not to, I just haven't seen it yet. And I think that's so proud of you for doing that. It's such an achievement to do that. And
that's so beautiful. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to read it. And then I thought, well, would you write a book? And I thought, well, it's not finished yet. And he said, well, it doesn't have to be one and everything in one. I was like, oh, good point. You know, where do you start? You start wherever you want to start. But life is certainly rosier, and with all of this going on around us, and the more that you get into this 5D frequency rise, and then sprinkle it with a nice bit of love, it certainly gives it a different aspect to look at it. You know, are we looking at through rose tinted glasses? He said to me the other day. I was like, no, I'm just looking. The glasses are not tinted.
I like to be provocative, if you hadn't realized, ladies and gents. I'm sure sometimes David's like, can you please just, not be so brutal? But no.
Yeah, you are pretty brutal, and it's something I've struggled with. Just, there's certain ways of saying things that we've had reactions from the way that we said something that could be meant as just a normal, like, I'll just say, pass that, just chuck that over there, will you? She says, you're so rude. I'm just saying, well, I'm just chuck it on the bed. It's, I think, a little bit of that Northeast, the first 8 years of my life, like being raised in Newcastle, we are pretty.
And Spain.
Blunt.
People are rude. People don't say thank you here. Like, I find it bizarre, and I've only been here 3 weeks now, but I just find it interesting. So of course there's that thread in there as well, because you've been living here for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
Lizzie,
what you think is rude, I'm just
on,
trying
babe.
to get it out there. All right, here's a good example I want to share with people. Lucy will say something, and she'll start talking like this, and then she'll go, and she'll talk to the window in the car. She's looking out at something. I'll say, I didn't hear that. But I can say, I'll repeat everything up until the word or the two words that I don't hear. For example, you want to go where after we get back from the UK? But then Lucy will repeat the whole sentence. I'd like to go here when we get back from. I said, listen, you don't need to do that. I'm just missing one word. Just tell me that one word. And then she'll say, well, you're so rude, aren't you? You're so brutal. I'm like, I'm trying to save you
I
time.
haven't
Well, I
called you
don't
rude
like
for
it.
that. I haven't called you rude for that. You're such a drama queen. I love it.
Well, do you see what I mean? How you can misinterpret a message. Just tell me the word that you're missing. I'll
absolutely.
understand it.
Absolutely.
No, I want to say the whole sentence again. I said, well,
I
just
do.
waste your breath and my time. Just tell
But
me
I
the word.
like to talk,
That's what I need
Mahoney.
from
You
you,
should
the
know
word.
that. David, there must
Yo.
be one thing that you knew about me before we got together, and that is I can chat.
Yeah, definitely. We knew that. Banter and chatting is something that drew us together. So it's important that we still do that. And we are. This has been a very good call. We've had that back. But it's also good to share what we've decided to do publicly with our relationship is share what's going on there so other people can learn from it. Because, let's face it, we are two giants, there's a clash of the giants there, on how we are, what we like to know, what we know, what we don't know. It's difficult when two strong characters like us are brought together, because I made it very clear, I don't want a subservient dishwashing sandwich maker. No, I want a partner.
But he does like all of those things, ladies and gents.
Nah, sandwich. I want an equal, someone I know that so, like, if we were in a situation where somebody said something, I'd go, oh, I don't have to handle that. Lucy, off you go. She'd be like, ah. And
I am a spiritual gangster. People are saying, yeah, Lucy's a spiritual gangster, which is true, because I am. There's something that I just have to share with you, David, because I know you can't see the comments, but I have to, because it's not come from me. Mahoney, you should try journaling like Lucy, but you could dictate yours. Hang on, let me just go back.
Who said that?
But you could dictate yours if you struggle with sitting down and writing.
Yeah.
I love that comment. It's comment of the night. There's going to be a prize for that comment.
Journaling, yeah, because Lucy does it all the time. I'll pop in, she's sitting there, and then I'll leave for like a second, and then the journal's out. It's a huge book. I said, do you go everywhere with that book? Yes, I do, And you write, sometimes you write normally, then you turn it around a whole 45 degrees and you're writing like Chinese. You just can write in all sorts of weird positions. And I've never read it, and I never would. I just think it's quite funny how you're so committed to it.
David hates my journal.
It's like having a third member at the party. The journal goes everywhere with us.
He feels like I'm cheating on him with my journal.
And here's the other thing she does, folks, right? I'll say something and she'll give me that look. She'll go, then she'll pick up the journal, start writing like she's some sort of psychologist writing some.
I love it, because that's so not true, but I love it.
What are you writing about?
I love it, David. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Absolutely brilliant. And people are just saying, seriously, David, journaling is transformational. They're now having these, sensible conversations.
Right.
He'll get there at some point, but it's up
exactly. To him. Let me get there my own time. I haven't completely dismissed it. One of the reasons I haven't embraced it is because it seems like it's like being a smoker. When you leave the house, phone, keys, cigarettes. It's like everywhere I go now, I'm gonna have this huge journal with me. I don't even like bringing my phone with me. Really, I have to, and I'm
bullshit.
It's too big. It's like a huge book that you bring everywhere with you, And God help if if it fell into the wrong hands. They would send a team of people with padded jackets to come and pick you up if they were to read it.
Pick me up.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the stuff you're writing, things that are coming through your channeling. That book fell into the wrong hands. I'm sure it could be used as evidence. It is quite clear that this woman has a very clear sign of dementia and lunacy. She needs to be removed from the public and put in a place of security and be studied like a laboratory monkey. And
my wonderful partner, David Mahoney, would be like, please take her. Go research her.
Here's my email. Let me know how you get on. And they'll probably let you go. You'll drive them, man, after about 2 days. Have them all converted and taken one of your courses.
Just imagine, they'd all be giving me messages. They'd all be just like bringing it. It would be just hilarious. I'd just be like, brilliant. We've got some new messages in the group. Oh, my God. So this has been one of my favorite chats that we've done.
Yeah, me too. It's good.
Go away more often.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Don't be throwing stuff out of my house because there's stuff in there now. Don't be saying, surely you can't need this photograph of Gaddafi in full. I need those pictures of Gaddafi for a movie.
I have promised you that I'm going to wait until you're back with me to do that. I've promised you, and I will do that. You know,
it's going to be a huge pile of stuff in the middle of the living room now.
No. I don't have time for that, babe. I wish I did, but I don't. I don't have time for that. I'm flying back home tomorrow, as you know, to sort out my own shit.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Which I can't. Oh, snidey little dig in the ribs there. Oh, can somebody just remove the dagger from my back, please?
Dress warm.
Yeah, people have been messaging me today. Oh, Lucy, it's so cold. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Really helping. Don't need that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that thank you, babe. It's been lovely to see you. It's been lovely to speak with you. And I think this has done everybody good. Everybody's laughing and they're saying we're good for their soul and they don't want it to stop. And Lizzie's telling me to change the locks.
Yeah, we said that.
Yeah, for sure.
I've changed the lock, I've thrown you out, and I've kept all your cars.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back together by Friday maximum, and we'll continue doing these Monday shows. I think they're very important. Yeah. I like the fact that we can share, a relationship where there are people who are so aware of other surroundings and influences and distractions and pulling it apart and throwing it back. Believe me, guys, it's this interesting chat, but it is tough, because taking somebody else's point of view. One of the things I said to Lucy, I says, Lucy, can you just leave some of your work at home, please? Every time I pick up something or move at something, are you analyzing me and saying, oh, this is clear forms of trauma? He's got coffee cup trauma.
I love the examples you give.
Well, it's true, isn't it? I'm saying, listen, I'm constantly being under the microscope, like some form of laboratory
paranoia, that's called, babe.
Hamster. And I'm not sure if you're doing it or not, because then, when I ask you something like that, you say, the journal comes out and then the writing begins.
Yeah, but I keep it to myself.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I study human behavior for a living. I can't help it. You're like my protege right now.
Say that again, Mahoney. I just make sure I get it down right.
Yeah, exactly. It's bloody brilliant. I love it. It's bloody brilliant. I absolutely love it. Anyway, my darling, good to see you. They're all saying trauma in the chat.
You're frightened to make movies, like imagine having a relationship with Sigmund Freud. It's like, I better call my mom. Yes, it's time to call your mother, maybe. You miss her.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Well, yeah.
I'll ring you later. I'm going to go and have dinner with my friend now and catch up. I haven't seen him in 8 years.
Should we have that chat in like 1 second when I've just ended the broadcast?
Yes, I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Well, hold the line. Thank you, everybody else, for watching tonight. It's been absolutely incredible having you here. I'm glad that you've been able to laugh and joke with us. It's been much needed. We will be back next week. God knows where we'll be. Let's be honest about it. Conscious Conversations, I'll see you in 50 minutes. Self-Love Club membership, I'll see you in an hour and 50 minutes. Mahoney, I will see you at the end of the week. Guys, love you to the moon and stars. Take care. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.